Hello besties, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ash and you are watching Smoke Shelves. So today we are doing, if you've seen the trend around, if you like this book, you'll like that book, but we're doing if you like this musician, you'll like this book. And I'm really excited for it. I've seen similar variations around of song to book, and I've done kind of that variation before on my Instagram of song to book. I kind of thought of it the other day, honestly, after listening to Taylor Swift's Red, Taylor version. And if you know me, I heavily associate songs with specific books, mostly because I will listen to one song on repeat as I am reading a book. And so more often than not, either that artist or that specific song gets ingrained with that book. And so I thought I would just bring you 10 musicians, some more popular than others, pop, I think I rock, some indie, with books that I like. And if you like this, then maybe I'll start branching out into some more obscure bands that I like, because I try to keep this one a little bit more mainstream. Yeah, let's get into it. I will name the musician and I will tell you the book that I read that I loved or really enjoyed, and I guess a brief synopsis of the book. As usual, I have everything written down because I don't have the memory for this, so if you see me looking down, you know why. Starting off with the first musician, which is a band, is Nothing But Thieves. If you've been on my Instagram recently, you know I've been on a Nothing But Thieves kick. I have been non-stop listening to Moral Panic and also Moral Panic 2, and honestly just all their backlist. I think I listened to their music and only their music for like 3 weeks straight this past month. Safe to say, I've been really enjoying their music. I've always been a big fan. I've been listening to them pretty much since their self-titled album came out, I believe. They've just really popped up in my life this summer as a more prominent enjoyment because one of my close friends also really likes them, and we would listen to their music while we were filming because Moral Panic 2 just has the vibes of the movie we were filming. So yeah, it was kind of very convenient because it came out middle of our filming. So we were all on the Nothing But These hype train. Actually, this specific song is the song I listened to while reading this book, and is the song I would associate most closely with the movie that I worked on this summer, which is Future Proof. Those vibes give me the vibes of the movie and this book. Without further ado, the book that I associate this musician with is Ace of Spades by Farida Epike Iyemere. If you haven't read it yet, which it definitely made the rounds on Booksta this summer, the basic gist is that we are following two main characters, Devon and Devon and Chiamaka. They both go to this private academy. They are the only two black students in the school. A blackmailer named Ace or Spades? One of the two. Basically, there's a blackmailer that begins releasing some secrets and personal information about our two characters, and the story follows them trying to figure out who is behind these information leaks and who can really help them, and talks a lot about institutionalized racism, and especially in the education system. I think it does an incredible job on the social commentary that it is seeking to do. If you like Nothing But Thieves, especially Moral Panic, go read that. For my second musician, I had to do my all-time favorite singer, which is Ellie Goulding. I'll link to my vlog of me seeing her concert. A lot of her more recent music has some more upbeat vibes to it, but I was thinking mostly in specific of the Halcyon era, which I think was a very definitive era for her in her music career, and although Bright Lights and Lights as a whole, as an era, also was pretty iconic. But a lot of even her more modern music has this melancholy tone, and that is what I based off of this book for mostly. The book that I associate Ellie Goulding with is Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Malinda Lo. So this book is set in the 1950s in San Francisco, and it follows our main character. I am blanking on her name. Give me a second. My memory is terrible. So it follows Lily, and Lily is she's an American-born Chinese, but her parents are immigrants, and it is during the Red Scare era where a lot of Chinese immigrants are basically being watched for being Chinese and being potentially communist. Lily is grappling with that side of her family, you know, the expectations of being a good daughter. She realizes that she is gay, basically starts having this relationship with a girl in her class who takes her to the Telegraph Club, which is a queer drag show club. It follows Lily and this girl in her class and their relationship, and Lily coming to terms with her identity and what that means for being the daughter she wants to be, especially in a time where being openly queer is very dangerous. Moving on to the third artist, she is my best friend's favorite singer. I do enjoy her music and all of her past albums I really enjoyed listening through, and I do keep up with her new releases, but she is definitely a very popular artist, and that is Ariana Grande. I didn't fully follow her music until I got closer with my friend. You know, I'm gonna like the stuff she likes, she's gonna like the stuff I like. I paired this artist with Perfect on Paper by Sophie Gonzalez. I do realize now that I think all, if not most of these books are queer in some way or another. Good on me for that. Yeah. That was unplanned, but Perfect on Paper. Basically, our main character, again, I don't remember her name. I have very bad memory with character names, but our main character, she is your average student in high school, except for the fact that she runs an advice column for relationships. And one day gets caught by another kid in her class. He sees that she's the one running the advice column and basically propositions her to help him out with him getting his girlfriend back. His ex-girlfriend back. It's them following that proposition, while at the same time she is like head over heels for her best friend. Our main character is bi, and it just follows that dynamic of her having this new friendship and potentially growing feelings for the guy, and just being confused, yeah, and just where bisexuality fits on the like LGBT plus community. Our fourth singer is someone who I've been following along since I think the beginning as well. A lot of these I have been. I've just noticed that. This singer, very recently, maybe a few years now, absolutely boomed in popularity. That one is Billie Eilish. So for Billie, I'm mostly following When We Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? I think that's the name of the title. It's probably slightly off. And then a little bit of her older stuff. Some of it does carry an over of that like melancholy vibes. I have paired it with The Ghost We Keep by Mason Deaver. So The Ghost We Keep follows our main character, Liam, I believe it's Liam. They are non-binary, such as I think all of Deaver's works are, and it is following them after their brother died in a car crash. It was less of a car crash and more of a car accident. It follows Liam going through the process of grieving for their brother, and the main plot beyond just the grieving is just that they reconnect with their brother's best friend, forms a connection with them, and just learns more about their brother and how to properly grieve. Number 5, we have another artist slash band that I think kind of just blew up very recently, but another band that I've been following for years, since their first album, and that would be Glass Animals. Glass Animals, if you haven't heard their music before, go check them out. Incredible. I mean, same with everybody, but their music is very odd. Yeah, the music is very unique, especially their older songs. Very interesting vibes. Very disorienting, very mind-trippy. With their music, especially taking into account their older stuff, even some of their newer stuff has trippy vibes. I paired this up with The Darkness Outside Us by Elliot Schrafer. This book honestly holds a grip on my heart. I don't talk about this one enough. It is one of my favorite books of the year. If not, probably my favorite book of the year. Honestly, I could probably say that. Darkness Outside Us, how do I explain this book? Because I don't want to give away too much. We are basically following 2 spacefarers. They have been tasked with the job of sending the ship to find new life for whatever reason. I honestly don't remember at this point. Our main character wakes up on the ship. The ship has basically said, I have a lot of repairs that need to be done. I woke you up early. Here's a list of tasks I need to get done. And our main character is attempting to get these tasks done, but things are just not quite adding up. He's trying to connect with the other spacefarer who's from another country. They are trying to figure out why things are just not quite adding up, while also fixing the ship and doing the tasks that they need to do, trying to reach their destination. And that's all I'll say. Okay, we are halfway through. 5 more to go. I was really expecting this to be a short video, but I don't think it's going to be. Thinking about it, because I talk a lot. We'll see how much footage I have and how much I cut down. Maybe I'll put up a number of just how much raw minutes I have, and you'll see how long it is before I do. Okay, artist number 6. This artist, you could consider them indie rock, but they're the most mainstream indie rock band out there, I think. So that should just give away who I'm talking about, which is Arctic Monkeys. So Arctic Monkeys, if you don't know, they're very mainstream for being indie. A lot of their newer stuff is a little more quiet, I would say. They started out being very heavy rock and now are more quiet. This artist and this book might be my weakest connection, but the vibes are there, at least in my mind. The book that I chose is Meet Cute Diary by Emery Lee. Again, this one's my weakest one, so I cannot really explain why I chose this, but the vibes are there. I don't know why, the Colorado vibes of the book remind me of that, and I think our main character kind of just has that like indie vibe. And so it follows our main character. Again, the name over my head. Our main character has basically moved in with their older brother, who goes to college at University of Colorado Boulder. I think they're there with him for the summer before their family moves to California from Florida. I believe that's the like geographical layout. They're staying with their brother for the summer. Their parents are house hunting and they are basically trying to get a job. They end up getting a job at a local like summer camp basically, and they meet someone there. Shenanigans ensue. And then on the other side, similar to Perfect on Paper, they also run like a private blog. Their blog is a Tumblr blog. I think it's called Meet Cute Diary, but basically they follow trans stories of trans people who are in happy relationships, and it talks about their meet cutes. And the only problem is their meet cutes and all the stories are fictitious. It follows our main character trying to run this blog while also just trying to figure out like their own identity. I don't think I can go a single video without ambulances. So that's Meet Cute Diary. The next artist is she, I believe, honestly got popular through TikTok. I listened to some of her songs before the TikTok songs, and I actually don't listen to the songs that were popular off of TikTok. This one is Royal and the Serpent. Check out some of her older stuff, it's great. Kind of an indie vibe, indie pop. If you know the vibes of her music, especially some of her older stuff, even some of her newer stuff, it's a little bit more grungy, I would say, than the pop that she's got a wide variety of style, but there is a little bit of like that rock, alt rock going into the vibe of that like indie pop, like anger in her music in not a bad way. It's just, you can tell there's like power. I paired her music, Royal and the Serpent, with These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong, which is the other book beyond The Darkness Outside Us. That might be my top book of the year. I honestly can't decide between the two, but they're both incredible. This book released last year, and in fact, as I record this, my copy of Our Violent Ends shipped from Barnes. Can I read it yet? No, because I'm in the UK and it's shipping to my house in the US. So big sad. Yeah, RIP me. This book, if you don't know what it's about, yeah, so it's the 1920s. It follows our main character, Juliet, who has just returned to Shanghai from, I believe, New York. She comes back. She's basically trying to take over her father's gang. She's the heir. She's trying to take over her gang and be the next leader. Well, however, there is something lurking in the night that is causing people to die. And so she ends up teaming with her rival, Roma. He is Russian. His family has been in Shanghai for a while at this point, and they clearly very much own a rival gang on the other side of the city. If you know anything about the book, you would know that it is the Romeo and Juliet retelling, so a lot of the side characters are pretty much the same. Obviously the names are changed. Yeah, so it's basically following the Capulets and the Montagues, but with a twist, obviously. For our 8th artist, we have an alt-rock artist, and his music is very political, very relevant if you live in the US. Another artist that I started listening to a very long time ago that has recently blown up, and I don't know if it's TikTok that's done it, but when I was prepping for this and just trying to figure out connections, I checked pretty much all of their Spotify numbers because I wanted to choose high profile or at least higher followed numbers, because I do follow some artists that have like 100,000, and so I wanted to pick people in the millions. And he's almost at 7 million followers on Spotify. I'm pretty sure when I started listening to him, he had like 100,000, if not less. So good for him. I've seen him live. I met him actually. I have a signed poster from him, and that would be Grandson. So if you're a fellow grandkid, hello. Yeah, his music is very political. It's very angry and just like destructive, if that makes sense. But it's very like fight the patriarchy, fight the higher ups kind of shit, you know? So I figured this book would be perfectly fitted for this. And so for that, I chose The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. And honestly, this is pretty spot on if you think of the fact that Jude is just trying to take everyone down. The Cruel Prince basically just follows Jude and her sister Taryn were swept away to Fairyland as kids because their mother was killed, and so they have basically grown up in the Fairyland, and she is just trying to become a knight. Things ensue because her father, who is a war general, basically says like she won't be able to be a knight. And so it follows her trying to do this while also dealing with fake characters that hate her and don't like humans and bully her. And that might be one of the worst synopses I've ever given for a book, because it's just so much more than that. Artist number 9 is a band that has been around for a while. They have some very like poppy electronica type music. I guess you would consider them indie. Yeah, they just have that like very upbeat vibes. That band is Years and Years. I feel like they don't really get a lot of hype. I don't think they're ever really on the radio. I think they're a great band. The book that I paired this band with is Felix Ever After by Kacen Callender. Honestly, it just gives that like upbeat vibes and triumphant feeling, that book, especially the ending. Felix Ever After follows Felix, our main character, who has never been in a relationship but wants to be, and they go to this art school in Manhattan. It's summertime, they're doing summer classes. They unfortunately are getting blackmailed by someone in their class. Someone tries to dead name them and puts up a whole bunch of displays, and it's them trying to figure out what happened, who's doing this, as well as just navigating being a trans teen. And now finally, for our last book of the video and last artist, we have honestly the person that inspired this video, Miss T. Swift herself, Miss Taylor. Do I need to introduce her? I don't think so. Basically, the TV version of Red sparked this whole video, and I kind of felt like I had to include her, even though I don't listen to her myself. She's the only artist on here that I don't really listen to. Red was the one album that I ever really connected with. I have it on CD at home, and I really enjoyed Taylor's version. But yeah, I feel like Miss Swift had to be included in this video for that exact reason. It's why she's last. No one else had any other order except for Miss Swift here. You most definitely know her. She's revolutionized the pop and country music sphere completely. I'm most directly relating this book to Red, Taylor's version, but I can see how other books influence it as well. Other albums have influenced this as well, even though I haven't fully listened to them. You know, just the vibes of her music. Our last book of the video is Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. If you've read the book or listened to her music, I feel like you can see the connection. Honey Girl, where do I start? It follows our main character after she is graduated from her graduate program. She is basically trying to just figure out what she wants to do with her career. Since she had been in education for many years to be an astronomer, she's seen the hardships of being a Black woman in STEM and is struggling to get her foot in the door. While this is all happening, her friends and her go to a trip to Las Vegas as a celebration for her graduating her program, and she marries a girl from New York. It's about them connecting after their one night stand/marriage, kind of just picking up her life to give this girl a shot and find herself. It's very lyrical and very soul-searching. I feel like that perfectly fits Taylor's music. Those are my 10 musicians, 2 books. Let me know if you like this, because I would love to do a follow-up of this, because I had a lot of fun connecting them, and it was challenging, honestly, to find vibes similar enough. And obviously artists' music evolves over time, and not every album is going to sound the same, and so sometimes I was basing off of one album more than the other, and sometimes I was just trying to do the general vibe, and that's that. Those are my 10. If you like this musician, you will like this book. If you like this video, please give a big fat like down below. Let's comment if you agree with my decisions, if you are a fan of any of these artists and you agree with my book choices, if you've read the book as well. If you are a fan of this artist and you have a different suggestion, let me know. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. It would mean the absolute world to me. That's all I've got for you today. I hope to see you in my next video.